Yo, light is a crazy shit, yo. Light is crazy shit.
Yo, peace. Welcome to the new season for the Hood Health podcast. Yo, thank you for coming through. Thank you for the support already off the rip. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since, been up here, shooting the shit and doing that thing. But we back, and we're looking forward to really getting into all those things that only the Hood Health podcast can give you. That you can't find anywhere else out there. All right. For those who are not familiar, Hood Health is dealing with health, and wellness and racial health disparities. And also deals with, health and hip hop and solutions. We about solutions. All right. So it's key because, a lot of, think pieces or platforms out there are only about just bitching and moaning, and we not about that life. All right, we definitely not about that life. So, with this renewal, episode one of the new season, we just want to kind of give you insight into, what we about, where we going, and also list a little bit what's been going on with me, your favorite, host, A Life of Allah. So check it. Hood Health is a platform that was started by myself and Maya Supreme Understanding of Supreme Design Publishing. It started with the publishing of two books, the Hood Health Handbook, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Side note, if you don't have those books, I don't even know who you are. Later in this podcast, I'm going to let you know how you can get them and how you can catch up with everybody because you're slacking, all right? And from that book, we developed a platform by which to reach into our communities and to discuss health issues and also health solutions. Part itself. So from there, it grew. Became since a couple of books to platform that had literally cooking pop-ups, lectures, workshops, classes, videos, music, a whole bunch of stuff. And we only have reached grazed the tip in terms of where we're going with all this. So we thought, during the time of COVID, of course we need to bring this back, right? Of course we need to bring it back because the people need it and the people want it. For those who've been following me, A Life of Allah, you know that for basically years, months, and days, I've been talking about moving from Connecticut, where I'm originally from, to California on the West Coast. I decided to do that last year, around September. Don't ask why. I mean, it's an intersection of various different factors, but it just had to happen. And if you were following me on my social media, you know that I was talking about doing covering my whole travels as I drove from east to west in a project I titled the Black Motorist Collard Greens Journal of Blackness. This was a nod, to the Negro Motorist Green Handbook, Green Book, which was put out in the early parts of last century by black folks. And it was basically, a black Yelp, in a book form that lets you know the spots that it was safe for black people to be at during traveling. So hotels and motels that you could stay at, where you could eat, where you could use the bathroom, get gas, all that kind of stuff. My parents are from that generation, so I was very familiar with it. And even some of the protocols in terms of traveling carried over into my generation when I traveled with my parents. Certain things that we would do that maybe white families didn't do. You know what I'm saying? We always had enough food and snacks in that car to get from point A to point B, right? So, for those who are familiar with it, now, yes, I'm plant-based now. I'm going to say this. The fried chicken on the white bread when it sops up all that grease and stuff, ain't nothing better than that joint. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? My mother used to pack that nice little cooler in the back. You know, we used to have a coffee can in case we weren't able to find gas stations. And it's funny because I thought all this was pretty much, the protocol for anyone traveling, and it just wasn't. You know, it was basically a trauma response to Black people having to travel during these times to also watch out for their safety. So I was going to do this tour from east to west. And it was basically going to be, in honor of that. But then also I was going to dig into just the aspects of Black traveling, health and food, wellness across the different states that I stopped at, you know. But as I got deeper and deeper to the time that I was actually about to make that move, I realized that we lived in the time of COVID and shit wasn't going to be sweet. So I decided to ship my stuff out west and just fly across. And due to several intersecting factors, I didn't end up in California at this point. I ended up in Portland, where I'll be for a minute. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I call this the renewal episode, just not also from the simple fact in terms of that we're dealing with the new season and everything, but also for myself because of what I experienced once I got here in Portland. So I got into Portland like the end of September, right? About the end of September. And then about a week into October, your boy suffered a massive, massive asthma attack. Now, for the record, I had an asthma attack since I was like the early 20s, right? I get wheezy sometimes, but, push through that shit, right? And I ain't been taking medicine for asthma since my early 20s. But first day, I was a little wheezy. I remember I was like, I'll just push through it. Second day that shit was gripping tighter. I was like, oh shoot. Tried to find some Primatene Mist. They weren't having it because this particular area got hit hard by the forest fires. Therefore, all the pharmacies that had Primatene Mist and stuff on the shelves, they were all wiped out. Right? So I'm like, Dad, what I do? Third day, I got on one of those teleconferences, medical teleconferences, and got a doctor who was able to get me a rescue inhaler, right? It was too late by that point. My asthma, my body was like in a constant state of an asthma attack. It was to the point where your boy couldn't walk like 10 feet without just like stopping and sitting down. I was looking real suspect out there in front of like Target, the concrete columns out front of Target. I was like holding on to it. They must have thought I hit that ball a little too heavy or whatever, but yeah, it got real for a second. Finally, I got admitted to a hospital. And ironically, it wasn't from no environmental trigger or anything and stuff like that. Most likely it was from, dealing with mental health issues. So we're talking about depression, the anxiety of moving, the stress from moving, all that kind of stuff. Poof, got me, right? So, but then what also got me, and this is crazy because I always mention this to people in terms of HoodHealth. HoodHealth is the lens by which we communicate this information and discover this information. So it's in a digestible form, for the people, so that people who need the message get the message and don't get all that additive stuff that people have up there, right? That additive stuff, which is like the super uber scientific talk or the ego talk and all that kind of stuff, right? It's also the lens by which I digest information. So when I was in hospital, I realized something, that part of my apprehension in terms of going into the hospital was not knowing how much it was going to cost. Ain't that some shit? So here you got this dude who writes about HoodHealth realizing how certain aspects of health, the healthcare system, is affecting him as a Black man. And I was literally making a life or death situation, right? It worked in my favor though, because of my transition in terms of between jobs and everything that I was doing. I became eligible for the healthcare of Oregon, which is incredible, right? Blew my mind. So I was in the hospital like I think 3 or 4 days. Yo, bill, zero. Yo, blew my mind, right? Blew my mind. Also because I was on this new health plan, I was like, yo, I'm about to go out like $6 million man. So I've been lining up, all types of tests and everything. Whereas before my particular medical coverage didn't cover or would just cost too much for copay and stuff, right? So your boy got like allergy tests, your boy got food tests, your boy got blood tests, your boy got sleep tests, your boy got like literally 10 tests. This shit got dental too. Like, yo, get everything done. $6 million man, Steve Austin, yo, all the way live. But what also this points to the system, which is that on record, on the paper, whatever, it looks as though, that I have nothing. And it's only because I look like I have nothing on the paper that I'm eligible for all these services. It's crazy because you literally have to have nothing in order to get these services. If they knew exactly what I had on paper, then I wouldn't be eligible for all this stuff. And it just blows my mind. So it's like, there are some people who are unhoused, quote unquote homeless, who have access to better health care than some people who are working 24/7. And I'm not trying to shame, people who are homeless or whatever. That's not the case. I'm just pointing out the inequities of a system that makes you basically have nothing in order to make you eligible to be cared for. And that's some pork shit, right? That's some pork shit. So anyway, I've been dealing with that, and it's been an interesting thing. So while I'm still in this period where I have access, I'm trying to get everything, done. Like I said, like $6 million man. Yeah. Anyway, so like I said, I'm in Portland, and part of my renewal of this renewal episode is to share with people how I've been growing and developing since that time. It's been real good in terms of also these services offer mental health care also. So I've been digging into what mental health care services that they have out here and seeing what's available, that's in tune with what I'm looking for, right? Because anybody who's been living through this COVID, if you don't have mental health issues already, you definitely are developing some, right? Periods of isolation, periods of stress brought on by the media, racial unrest, family members who are sick, dead, or dying that you're not able to see, not able to bury. People are not able to, visit their loved ones, and as they transition, they're not able to have large gatherings and stuff. So all this is mental wear and tear. So it's been interesting digging into the mental health services, but also finding mental health services that are appropriate for you. So for me, when I'm looking for mental health services, I want mental health services that are, 9 times out of 10, first of all, it needs to be a Black person. It just needs to be, that's what it is. I need to be able to freely talk about trauma. I need to be able to freely talk about race. And I need it to be to a person who has some type of insight into that. And I'm not talking about academic insight. I'm talking about lived, shared experience insight. It's the same way that I get the side eye, pardon, to male gynecologists. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, academically you might have everything, but you don't have a shared experiences of the women who you are, examining. And let's be real. You gotta be kind of a weirdo, to be a dude and to go and become a gynecologist. For real. Like, if there's ever a space that it's like, women, this needs to be for women, gynecology would be it. So yeah, shout out to the weirdo gynecologists, male dudes out there. from A Life a Lot, Hood Health. You see me. Anyway, so I've been the other great thing about this is being in the Pacific Northwest is I have access to a lot more professional health professions that deal with the intersection of various different treatments. So, for instance, my primary care doctor here is offering a whole bunch of naturopathic, solutions as well as, more standardized, quote unquote, Western solutions, putting it all on the table, which is great. See, out east, or especially in Connecticut, your health services don't cover that. I mean, you can go to a chiropractor or acupuncturist, whatever, but you're paying for that shit out of pocket, right? And if you do have a real good health plan that covers all that, then, you have a really, 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 really high paying job. In other words, it's not something that most people have access to. Also, a lot of these doctors, the majority of them just are all white and out in the boondocks in terms of Connecticut. So once again, they're not coming from my particular angle. Out here, there's a lot more who not only are of color, but even those who are white, who are more aware in terms of cross-cultural things. Let me tell you about my doctor, y'all. Let me tell you about my doctor, Dr. Dana. I call her Dr. Dana because, that's what I do. Anyway, so I was making all the appointments for my all the tests and stuff that I'm getting now that I'm on this health plan, and one of them was for colonoscopy. And basically I made the appointment, and the person was like, well, if you do it before your birthday, they made some kind of excuse basically saying that it's supposed to be done on your birthday, and only then does the insurance cover it, right? Because it's kind of a preventative measure kind of thing. I told back Dr. Dana, and she was like, that don't seem right. She was like, if you want that appointment, let me know, and I will fight for you. I will get in there. And it took me a minute because I was like, who am I talking to? I'm talking to her on teleconferencing, right? But she's about to wild out. Dr. Dana's white, but Dr. Dana's about to wild out on them because they didn't give me my appointment, So it's been a real interesting type of interaction I've had with my primary doctor now that I haven't had my whole life due to various different reasons. I've had jobs that's paid well and had shit healthcare, the crazy co-pays. And because of that, I never really developed great relationships with my health professionals because I will only literally go there if my arm fell off. My arm didn't fall off. The one good thing also, the other good thing, several good things came from me being in the hospital. One was I got a free COVID test, and your boy didn't have shiznick. They stuck a little thing up my nose. It didn't hurt, but that junk just felt like something that didn't belong there, right? The other thing that I've been discovering or utilizing in terms of out of this health crisis per se, like I said, is developing a great relationship with everybody about my health. And what I also got the feedback from the doctor, that I had blood working on it, had stuff done. Dr. Dana basically validated some things for me that I kind of knew, but to have them validated, professionally, is even great. She basically said that, yeah, my family has huge rates of, diabetes and, high blood pressure, stuff like that. But she basically said my lifestyle has prevented any of that from being detrimental to me, not being pre-diabetic, not being high blood pressure-y. I know that's not the correct word. I just made that junk up. Rock with me. So it was good to hear that the choices that I've been making, has been beneficial to me, especially someone in my years, now getting younger, I'm aging like fine wine better, and so that was, like I said, that was good to hear from her, and it validated that the choices that I made in terms of, a strong plant-based diet pays off in the long run. In fact, she was surprised by my overall health stats. There were only minor things that the asthma, of course, but there's only minor things that she felt needed adjustment, in terms of my lifestyle, in terms of maybe more of this particular vitamin, here or there. But that was a great thing to have that conversation and to literally take a weight off of me, because here I am, author, presenter, workshopper of Hood Health, knowing in the back of my mind that there's certain checkups that I need, but for various different reasons I haven't had them, whether it be monetary, whether it be literally just afraid, or not having access to them, so to hear that from her, it put me on a good path. Like I said, the other major thing that I've been dealing with during COVID has been the COVID lockdown. So the mental health aspect. I'm sure everybody else has been dealing with it on various different levels. I think one reason that it hit me heavy moving west, from the east, is that everybody's been asking me, like, yo, how do you like Portland? How do you like Portland? I'm like, yo, dude, man, like, it's fucking COVID, so one, I moved here in the fall of 2020. So we already started to descend in terms of, the amount of sunlight that's out there, right? We're already cutting into that. The second thing, so that seasonal affective disorder started to come up really, really, really real, right? It was like, hey, what's up? Looking like, I don't know, looking like Dark Side, just coming out from Apocalypse, that was one thing. Two, like I said, it's the COVID era. So it's not like I can go out to go to these social events. They ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? I can't even go out to a library or like a cafe and just chill out, so the social aspect was different than me on the East Coast. So for instance, even if I was isolating myself on the East Coast, I still kind of like, knew my way around and knew places I could be in the cut just to sit out and just to watch people go by, or go run this errand, go run that errand, whatever. But out here, totally in a different arrangement, So the darkness, the quarantine, those weighed heavy on me. What also was way heavy on me in a different manner was the fact that we were dealing with the racial unrest, and so I really didn't know the layout, the landscape. I still don't, to a degree, of Portland. So I didn't know where all these these uprisings were happening at. So I had to kind of, it's kind of like an unspoken kind of stress or kind of thought in the back of my brain was like, yo, is this the spot where they about to wild out? You know what I'm saying? The one thing I will say about Portland is like there's 1,001 Black Lives Matter signs around here. That's neither here nor there, because as far as I'm concerned, those are words without action. So unless people, pony up with the actions, shit don't really mean that much to me. But there is a contingent of white people here who, trying to figure it out, at least the best that they know how. And, so that all kind of resonated in my head, like, yo, like, I don't really know where I'm at. So we're talking about spatially, mentally, and seasonal affective disorder. So all of that just combined to be like, give me like some old COVID type of blues, and I'm still working through all that. There are days like this week, like 3 days this week, my brain couldn't process anything. And for those people who are inside their head a lot, or who just like me, like I grew up, I was a daydreamer, I was a reader, whether it be sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, the whole nine. If I can't play, for lack of a better term, inside my head, there's a problem. And so like the last few days I haven't like motivation has been zero. And then also just my brain hasn't been working. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been able to process stuff. Literally, I forget something. Short-term memory is like shot. You know, and that's not due to the freaking, you know, proliferation of freaking dispensaries around here. Is due to the fact that my brain just, you know, it's dealing with the psychological stress and pressure of the time and place that I'm in right now. You know, so that's also why, you know, I wanted to dive into and get everything popping again with all these elements of Hood Health that I've been putting on the back burner. Some of them I've been able to do, some of them I haven't, just because once again, that giant brain fart that I've been talking to you about, you know. Go. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this, you know, little commercial announcement, all right? See ya.
The Hood Health Handbook is probably the book that you need most that isn't on your shelf right now. We deal with racial health disparities in health and wellness. We deal with solutions in terms of your health and health care that is appropriate and beneficial to Black and brown people. And we put it all in 2 books, the Hood Health Handbook Volume 1 and Volume 2. You can pick this up at www.supremedesignonline.com. And while you're over there, use the code ALIFE7, ALIFE7, and get yourself 10% off of all our products over there. Don't let another day pass without this book being on your shelf. Stop playing yourself.
Yo, peace. Yo, thank you for hanging in there with me. Where we're going in terms of Hood Health Podcast, you know, going into the rest of 2021, we're going to do 2 formats. We're going to do the format that will start off bi-weekly, which will be our meals. So the meals will be like the Hood Health Podcast will be about an hour. I'll be doing some interviews of people on all aspects of health and wellness. I got some people for you, yo. So I want y'all to be ready for that. And on the off weeks where we aren't doing the meals, we're going to do the snacks. All right. Snacks. They're going to be about 20 minutes. Me on some random topic, you know, cause I literally have like 1,001 topics about health that I want to talk about. But I always I'm a perfectionist. So I want to I want to write like a 20-page blog, or, you know, I want to do like a video series. The reality is that I can be giving them to you as some, you know, some short shots, like buck, you know, so those are going to happen on the off weeks. So right now we're just going to start off with the meals, and it's going to be bi-weekly. And once you start realizing that the Hood Health Podcast is happening every week, then that means the snacks are coming in. Because one week you're gonna have the meals, and next week you're gonna have the snack. All right. So that's how we're gonna proceed. To reflect also again on this COVID thing, I need to really, really send a shout out and to acknowledge what the food industry has been doing during this time. They've been on some next level stepping it up. And for the fact that people are still referring to them as essential workers without thinking that they deserve to have, you know, a fucking living wage, it's some old pork shit. But these food workers literally have been getting me through. I am a person who knows how to cook, you know, but I really some days just haven't had the spoons to be able to bring that together. You know, everybody from the farmers to the food service people who are transporting food, to grocery store workers, to restaurant owners, to all the gig workers who are out there, you know, from, you know, all these different places delivering food. You know, I want to thank you, you know, and from the bottom of my heart, because y'all have been the unsung heroes, you know, of this whole pandemic thing. And I'm specifically me, unsung heroes. I mean, people are out there trying to, you know, say that they really appreciate them, but working against them, you know what I'm saying? Trying to deny them, you know, basic safety or basic PPE and stuff like that. So I wanted to like make sure that I spent some time on the Hood Health Renewal episode to shout out these food service industry, fucking superheroes, because they doing that damn shit, right now. The other thing that has been getting me through, which I'm going to actually do a whole nother episode on, has been plant allies. And basically, a lot of my friends who are herbalists and stuff have been hitting me up with the tinctures and the proper herb teas and stuff to make sure that my body is supported as much as possible during this time. So we're talking about herbs that are good for respiratory, herbs that are good for anxiety, your nervous system, for insomnia. They've been hitting me up. So I need to do a whole episode on plant allies in terms of how the global majority, and when I use the term global majority, I mean Black, Indigenous, people of color. They have huge traditions of plant allies, and in this time that we're living in now, dealing with COVID, we're dealing with racial uprisings, we're just dealing with pure fuckery, and caucasity and all this kind of pork shit. Plant allies is something that you really should have in your toolkit. So we're gonna do a whole episode. It's gonna be a meal too. It ain't gonna be no snack. It's gonna be a meal on plant allies. I'm gonna have I had several people come through to talk about plant allies, because that has literally been part of my saving grace during this period right now. And we'll get into that, how traditional knowledge of plant allies has been merging together with more modern discoveries and everything that's been coming from that, and just making sure also that we're at the point now that these new discoveries and everything make sure that the people have access to this, and not just, some rich investor dude on Wall Street or in Silicon Valley, who gets up there on fucking television and talks about how free and stuff they are because they use all this stuff. Nah, you free because you got a lot of fucking money, and you have access to something. And so now it's time for us to make sure that everybody has access to these kind of things, and it's not just something for the quote unquote 1%, especially since it was never the 1% who was the curators of this knowledge, Where do I move forward with this? Where I'm moving forward with Hood Health? Well, I'm glad that you asked. There's so many things that's in the work for Hood Health, as always. Like I said, I'm always thankful for all the supporters out there that keep rocking with me. One of the main things, though, is that we're working on developing this website that I've been working on forever. And this website, once that is fully up, it will have access to, it will give you access to the workshops, some of the workshops that we're shifting so that they're available online, some presentations so that they're available online. We're working to be ready for a post-COVID world. All right. Because it's not going backwards. It's not going backwards. We're going to do something totally new. All right. So it's this uncharted territory. So we want to make sure that the Hood Health platform is pandemic strong, if I'm going to use that term, meaning that I want to make sure that if another pandemic come across, that it doesn't knock our hustle, right? It doesn't knock, what we're doing. So I want to make sure that our online presence is strong. With that being said, post-COVID, I'm also want to make sure that as soon as, all those regulations are lifted down, I'm able to go and travel and to get busy, in the hood near you. Because that's a big aspect of Hood Health, which is different than all these online health influencers. I'm going to do a whole episode about that pork shit too. Who hold everybody else to this high standard, but don't hold themselves to a standard. These are the, these health wellness influencers who, look so perfect online, but you don't never see them in any pictures or any videos with the people doing the work, being out there in those streets. Do a whole episode on them because a lot of people are following these influencers and they're dangerous. They're really, really, really dangerous. And I want people to be aware that I kind of held my tongue a lot, because I wanted to focus on, what we need to do for Hood Health. But I'm realizing more and more that because Hood Health is the trusted brand and the brand of the people, that it's part of my duty to make sure to point out, like, yeah, that's a glass full of dirty ass water. You know what I'm saying? That's a glass full of dirty ass. Don't drink that shit. But as we keep moving forward, like I said, I want to make sure that the Hood Health platform, the website, is pandemic strong. All right. And then post COVID, we're going to be everywhere. Already got places lined up on the West Coast, in the South. So we're going to get busy. Working on a few books, working on a few smaller Hood Health books dealing with particular subjects. Specifically, I'm writing one book on terms of to address white vegans, because I got to. And then one book I'm working on in terms of the history of plant-based eating amongst Black people in America, because there's a long history since we first planted our feet on this soil, that in terms of plant-based eating, and that a lot of history gets lost from Black folks and also from white vegans. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna bring that. A couple of books we're working on. Like I said, look out for the website. All that stuff is going to be on there. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, our Twitter, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff you can find at our link tree. So it's linktr.ee/HoodHealth. All right. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, all that stuff will be in the notes. All right. If you listen to this on a podcast channel, just listen again. It also, in the link tree, it's so many different treats that are up there. A lot of interviews that we did on different blog channels. Some of the lectures that we did that's up there. Got the Hood Health mixtapes up there. So much stuff up there. I'd be forgetting what's up there. We're working on that Hood Health merch too. We had it at one point, but we about to re-up it. We about to re-up. All right. We about to re-up that merch. Also, speaking of merch, I always got to shout out the homies. So, Rap Seminar. That's where this link came from. My boy Rob, my homegirl Helen, Roxy, her pens, you know what? I just need to get some joints from her, like wholesale, and sell them on the Hood Health website. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna put their information in notes too, because their gear is fire. And that's about it. Once again, buy the book already, will you? Because from the book, you understand the direction that I'm coming from, and you understand how I don't have a filter, and you understand why I come so hard. One is because there's people out there posting false knowledge and leading people into despair, and I hate that shit. Because especially when people are suffering, they need to hear the truth, and people that put in the work. So from the book, you get kind of that insight, and then you'll understand why I go the direction and how hard that I go. I think that's meant. I'm also on another podcast. I'll put that in the notes also. I do a co-host. I co-host a podcast called Can We Even Talk About That with my homegirl, Lisa Ebony. We do that bi-weekly. All right. We're on Spotify under Can We Even Talk About That? All right. We're on other platforms too. But once again, I'll put all that stuff in the notes, and then you just go subscribe and you add on. All right. I think that's about it for now. But yeah, thank you. This is the renewal episode. We about to get busy. So this next episode that's going to come up, I got a treat for you, yo. I got a treat for you. For those who know, the Hood Health Handbook was the intro, the foreword to that was written by the illustrious Dick Gregory. All right, Dick Gregory. He gave us his blessings. And my boy Supreme just hit me up with the audio of Dick Gregory passing the baton to us. Yeah, that's going to be on the next episode. I'm going to mix that up a little bit and let you listen to the great Dick Gregory, co-sign Hood Health. All right. And that's important because we always make sure that we acknowledge those who came before us and those that were doing the work. So to get his blessing was everything. And your favorite influencer probably didn't get the blessings of the hood. All right, just to let you know that. All right, but we did, and this is what we do. All right, so once again, thank you for rocking with me. It's Hood Health, yo. That's what we do. This is just the beginning. We back at it again, you know. So keep with us and keep rocking with us. All right, peace.